Mychemical Romance has revived their alter ego, the Black Parade, but with a twist. I was shocked to see everyone's favourite emo classic switched up like this, especially with such a rich album story already in place, but honestly, I'm loving it. Not only do they have different outfits on stage and a new demeanour, but they even have their own alphabet now for fans to decrypt. Grab some snacks and get comfy as we dive into the new Black Parade, and what this could mean for the future of the band. Just quickly, before we get into the video, if you're as excited at MCR being back as I am, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more on Mychem and your other favourite alternative art. Back in November 2024, Mychemical Romance's social media accounts burst back into life, teasing something big. Fans were shown 3 blood red symbols looming in the sky of what looked like a dystopian city. At a quick glance, the characters could have been mistaken for Cyrillic, however a closer look got fans excited. MCR gave us a whole new alphabet. The fans didn't have to wait long for the big reveal, as they woke up the following day to the news emos across America had been dreaming of. A brand new Mychemical Romance NA tour, titled Long Live the Black Parade. The tour is a very brief one, just 10 performances in 10 different cities. The shows are not back to back, instead they're actually every Saturday night for 10 weeks. The poster and promo material gave us a much deeper look into the band's vision for these performances. The announcement video shows a military leader walking up a marble staircase to address a massive crowd of supporters. As he steps out onto the balcony, his fans erupt in cheers, and we get our grand reveal as the tour dates begin to flash across the screen. This announcement video came with a caption which set the fanbase alight, as Mychemical Romance set up on telling us a whole new story. It reads, "It has been 17 years since the Black Parade was sent to the moat. In that time, a great dictator has risen to power, bringing about the Concrete Age, a glorious time of stability and abundance in the history of Draag. His grand immortal dictator wishes to celebrate a rich and storied culture, fine foods and musical entertainments by welcoming you to these great demonstrations of power and resolve, and lending voice and song for the first time in 6,246 days, their work privilege ceremoniously reinstated, will be his grand immortal dictator's national band, the Black Parade. Long live Draag." So, for context, back in the day the Black Parade were MCR's alter ego as they toured that album. However, the Black Parade appeared to come to the demise in a blockbuster finale in Mexico City on the 9th of May 2008. We then got confirmation of that when they released a live album and DVD of that show called The Black Parade is Dead, just 1 month later, which I regularly revisit myself. Back then, MCR would play the full Black Parade album as their alter egos, rocking the iconic black and white marching band uniforms that we all know and love. After they finished that album, they switched back to MCR and performed a few songs from other albums. This new Black Parade, it's familiar, but definitely not identical. And that's what's so intriguing about this new tour. I'm going to be a little bit selfish here and start with my personal favourite change, which is the new alphabet that we were treated to. The alphabet was created by Nate Piekos, a world-renowned comic book typographer who goes by the pseudonym Blambot. Lead singer Gerard Way got in touch with Nate on this proposition and already had the name for this language in mind, Kaposka. As you can tell from the name and by looking at it, there was a lot of inspiration from Cyrillic, but they intentionally left some characters close to English, such as the C that we saw in the original post. As far as translations go, no official alphabet is ever going to be provided by the band or by the creator of the language, but that hasn't held back the fans. First up was that original post that I've been referencing. It's just 3 letters, so guessing MCR wasn't exactly a stretch in the first place. More interesting though is when we get to the dramatic military style tour announcement, as a member of the dictator's entourage shouts something to the guards in Kaposka, and we are given subtitles showcasing more of the alphabet. I'm not even going to try and pretend I cracked this myself, but a massive shout out to the Chegg on Reddit who managed to translate it to Men at Attention, which makes perfect sense with what we see in the trailer. That's all we see of the language in the promo material, however it is still being used in the live performances, which is what we will get to. But first up, there's one more detail we need to have a look at. Looking back at the grand Instagram reveal of the tour, there is a detail leading into a later social media post. The main point here is that the Black Parade are the Grand Dictator's national band of Draag, and with that comes the national anthem of Draag, titled Over the Fields. In the accompanying video for this, we see both a flag and a seal of Draag. Interestingly enough, both of these depict animals that have been hunted with arrows. The flag has a fallen cow on it, and the seal has a deer which is still standing but wounded from the arrows. As for the actual anthem, it is in English and not Kaposka. And if you want a very brief summary of it, the anthem is the nation of Draag taking pride in how grey and miserable it is. The only positive thing that is mentioned in this anthem is how they began wounded and have now grown strong enough to stand up and fight back. This anthem rings out at the beginning of the concerts before the Black Parade perform, and I guess it's time to stop teasing you and just dive into the actual performance. As I just mentioned, the live performance opens on the Draag national anthem, before the Black Parade begin the album by playing The End and Dead. The Black Parade then introduce themselves and forcefully bring to our attention that they are brought to you by, and I quote, kindest, gentlest, grand, immortal dictator, and ask the crowd to make some noise for him. They also mention how they are supported by the Draag National Auxiliary Band, who are all dressed in the same Soviet looking military uniforms we saw in the tour promo. This leads us into the next three songs, which are This Is How I Disappear, The Sharpest Lives and Welcome to the Black Parade, before we kick into the next theatrical aspect of our dystopian dictatorship, which is an election? Don't worry, I'm aware of the contradiction, but stick with me here. When fans entered the stadium, they were handed a card with yeah on one side and nay on the other, with their Kaposka translations in smaller print at the bottom of the card. Gerard Way announces there is going to be an election, and that there are 4 candidates the crowd can vote for using those cards. But there is a twist. Given the Black Parade serve the grand immortal dictator, an election seems ironic, but it makes perfect sense when you see that the candidates we have are lined up with bags over their heads. Gerard then puts it to the crowd for the vote without any information on what they're actually voting for, and we very quickly learn just how meaningless this election truly is. After the voting is done, cardboard cutouts of soldiers pop up and there is an incredible mock execution, as pyrotechnics explode all around them and they drop to the floor. It was a beautiful theatrical performance with strong political undertones, which we'll get to a little later, so stay tuned for that. After this grand display, the Black Parade take us right back into the music, with the rest of the album through from I Don't Love You right the way down to Famous Last Words, with slight changes to a few of the songs. I Don't Love You, Cancer, Sleep, and Disenchanted all either had altered or entirely different intros, whilst Mama had a different intro and outro. It took until the end of the last official song before we get our next theatrical performance from the Black Parade. At the end of Famous Last Words, Gerard Way appears to collapse to the stage and fades away, as the rest of the Black Parade band gets kidnapped off stage by soldiers of the Grand Immortal Dictator. This is followed up with a darker, more sombre reprise of the opening track The End, as if it were the ghost of the leader performing it posthumously. You would think this would be the end, but if you know the Black Parade album like I do, you know that after a period of silence at the end, we are greeted to an eerie jingle that we all know and love as Blood. Rather than this being performed live, it's just a tape recording. However, we have a white clown with blood splatters on it performing what I can only describe as an interpretive dance, whilst encouraging the crowd to sing along. Just when you think the twists are done, with a few lines left to go, the clown rips off the outer layer of his outfit to reveal a vest with a load of stage pyrotechnics attached to it. Right after the final line of the song, the pyrotechnics went off to give us one final theatrical masterpiece, whilst also giving us one last little taste of the message that they're trying to deliver with this. And that was it. The grand finale to the Black Parade element of the performance, who then made way to allow Mychemical Romance to perform some of the heavy hitters they have left across the rest of their albums. The rest of the show goes on to be a classic Mychemical Romance performance. Pure energy, raw emotion, and a fanbase screaming every line back at them like their lives depend on it. However, we still need to touch on the meaning behind the whole Black Parade aspect of this show. The entire thing clearly had political undertones from the beginning, that much is obvious. But It's definitely not aimed at one country in particular here, rather a mix of a few countries combined with some bleak observations about the state of the world these days. The election showed how happy people were to vote without understanding who or what they were actually voting for, as well as how easy it is to persuade people with a little bit of peer pressure. The rest of the show's violent nature highlights just how numb we are to violence these days. It's just a daily headline and horror statistic before the world moves on to the next tragedy tomorrow. Mychemical Romance have faced some backlash for this performance due to the political nature of it, but they've always been political. The issue you have these days is a lot of people are ready to throw their toys out of the pram if somebody doesn't directly agree with them. Add on to this the fact that this was performed in America, a very divided and polarised country, and you have quite a few unhappy people wanting refunds. At the end of the day, Mychemical Romance have stayed true to themselves and added another layer of lore to an already incredible discography, and proven once again that no matter how long of a break they take, Mychemical Romance will always be that band. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel below. That is all from me for today. I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.